The Boy from the Mountain. Our story begins in 1985 on the rugged, Atlantic island of Madeira, Portugal. This island is a place of steep cliffs and winding roads. But for a boy named Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro, it was a giant playground. He was born into a life where every cent mattered. His father, Dennis, was a gardener who struggled with his own demons, and his mother, Dolores, was a cook who worked from dawn until dusk. They lived in a tiny, cramped house in the neighborhood of Santo Antonio. The roof was made of tin, and when the heavy rains hit the island, the sound inside was deafening. There was no room for big dreams in a house that barely had room for its people. Cristiano was a skinny boy with messy hair and a heart that beat a little too fast. Doctors found he had a racing heart, a condition that could have ended his life. But even as a child, he refused to sit still. He didn't have expensive football boots. Often, he played in old shoes or even barefoot on the sharp concrete. He didn't have a beautiful green field. He had the vertical streets of his mountain home. He would wait for the cars to pass, then continue his game. He played against the stone walls, the rhythmic thump-thump of the ball becoming the soundtrack of the neighborhood. He was so obsessed that he would skip meals and homework just to stay outside with his ball. He wasn't just playing, he was escaping. He was teaching his feet to do things that other children couldn't imagine. At the age of 12, the biggest and most painful decision of his life arrived. He had to leave his mother, his siblings, and his island to move to the big city of Lisbon to join the Sporting CP Academy. It was a 600-mile journey across the ocean, but for a 12-year-old boy, it felt like moving to another planet. In Lisbon, he was a lonely, frightened child. The other boys mocked his thick Madeira accent. They called him a peasant and laughed every time he spoke. He spent his nights sobbing into his pillow, clutching a public phone card to call his mother, begging to come home. He felt like a stranger in his own country. But every time he felt like quitting, he looked at his thin arms and legs and made a choice. He decided that if he couldn't change his accent, he would change his body. He began to sneak out of the dormitory at night to lift weights in the dark gym. He realized that hard work was the only language the bullies would respect. Stop right there. Are you feeling like an outsider today? Do people mock your dreams or where you come from? Cristiano cried every night, but he worked every morning. If you want to learn how to turn your tears into trophies, you need to stay with us. Click that subscribe button right now. Join our family of warriors and let's climb the mountain together. The Theater of Dreams. By the time he was 17, Cristiano was a different person. He had grown tall, his legs were powerful, and his feet were like lightning. In August 2003, Sporting Lisbon played a friendly match against Manchester United. A skinny teenager with blonde highlights and braces on his teeth stepped onto the field. He moved with such speed and dazzling skill that the Manchester United defenders were left dizzy. After the game, the legendary manager Sir Alex Ferguson refused to leave the stadium until he had signed the boy. He told his staff, "We are not leaving without him." Cristiano arrived in England as a teenager with a world of pressure on his shoulders. Sir Alex did something incredible. He gave the 18-year-old the number 7 shirt. This was the shirt worn by icons like George Best and David Beckham. It was a heavy burden for a boy who didn't even speak English well. In his first few seasons, the British media was cruel. They called him a show-off who did too many tricks and had no end product. The weather was cold, the fans were brutal, and every time he fell on the grass, the whole stadium booed him. But the world didn't see what was happening behind the gates of the training ground. Cristiano Ronaldo became a scientist of his own greatness. He was the first person to arrive at 7 a.m. and the last to leave at 7 p.m. He hired a personal chef, a private trainer, and a scientist, things that no other player was doing back then. He transformed his body from a thin, lanky frame into a statue of pure muscle. He practiced his knuckleball free kicks until his feet bled. He realized that talent was just a gift, but hard work was a choice. In 2008, his hard work peaked. He led Manchester United to the Champions League title and won his first Ballon d'Or. He was no longer a show-off. He was the king of Manchester. He had turned the theater of dreams into his personal kingdom. The world is watching. Cristiano is transforming himself from a boy into a machine. Are you willing to be the first one to arrive and the last one to leave? If you want the discipline to become the best version of yourself, you belong here. Subscribe to this channel right now. Let's build your legend together. The White Kingdom and the Rivalry of Giants. In 2009, Cristiano made the biggest move in the history of sports. He joined Real Madrid for a world record fee. On the day he arrived, 80,000 people packed the stadium just to see him walk onto the grass. There was no game, just a man and his ball. The pressure in Madrid was different. It was win or die. But Cristiano had a new challenge. In Barcelona, a quiet genius named Lionel Messi was rising. For the next 9 years, the two of them would engage in the greatest rivalry in human history. Every weekend, the world stopped to see who would score more. If Messi scored a hat-trick on Saturday, Ronaldo would score 4 on Sunday. This rivalry pushed Cristiano to heights that were thought to be impossible. He averaged more than 1 goal per game, a statistic that belonged in a video game, not real life. He became the highest scorer in the history of Real Madrid. But it wasn't just about goals, it was about the Champions League. He led the club to 4 titles in 5 years. He suffered through knee injuries that should have sidelined him for months, but he changed his playing style. He moved from being a winger who ran 40 yards to a predator in the box. He became a master of the air, jumping higher than basketball players to score headers. He was a billionaire, a father, and a global icon, but he still lived like a monk. He didn't drink alcohol, he didn't eat sugar, and he spent hours in ice baths to recover. He showed the world that when your body ages, your mind must get smarter. He was proving that average was his only enemy. He taught us that to stay at the top, you must be your own toughest critic. He was no longer just a player. He was a brand, a machine, and a symbol of what a human being can achieve through pure, obsessive willpower. The rivalry is at its peak. Cristiano is fighting to stay at the top of the world. Do you have a rival in your life? Or is your only rival the person you were yesterday? If you want the mindset of a champion, you need this story. Click that subscribe button right now. Let's win the gold together. The captain's sacrifice. Despite all his success at clubs, a shadow remained. His national team, Portugal. Critics said, he wins for Madrid because he has the best teammates, but he can't win for his country. Portugal was a small nation that had never won a major trophy. In the 2016 European Championship, Cristiano carried his team on his back. In the final against France, the unthinkable happened. In the 25th minute, a heavy tackle left him with a torn ligament in his knee. He tried to run, he tried to bind it, but his leg collapsed. He sat on the grass and wept as a moth landed on his eye. It was one of the most heartbreaking images in sports history. He was carried off on a stretcher, and the world thought Portugal was finished. But they didn't know Cristiano. He refused to go to the hospital. He returned to the sideline with a heavy bandage, limping and screaming. He became a second manager. He was pushing his teammates, shouting instructions, and ignoring his own agony. When Eder scored the winning goal in extra time, Cristiano collapsed in tears again. This time, they were tears of joy. He had finally given his people a reason to dance in the streets. He proved that a leader is someone who finds a way to contribute even when they cannot play. This victory was more important to him than any Ballon d'Or. It was the moment he became a hero for eternity. He showed that the love for your country is the greatest motivation. He proved that no matter how many times you fall, if you stay on the sideline and fight for your brothers, you can still win. He had taken a small country and made them the kings of Europe. His legacy was no longer just about his goals. It was about his heart. The dream is alive. Cristiano showed that even when you are broken, you can still lead. Are you ready to lead your family or your team even when you are hurting? If you want to find your inner captain, stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel right now. Let's lead the way to victory. The eternal legacy. Today, Cristiano Ronaldo is the most followed person on the planet. He has hundreds of millions of followers, but he still treats his body like a temple. He moved to Italy, back to England, and then to Saudi Arabia, spreading the game to new corners of the world. He has proven that age is just a number if your discipline is a fortress. Even at 40 years old, he is still the first to arrive at training. He still eats the same healthy food, and he still drinks only water. He has manufactured his own luck through millions of sit-ups and thousands of hours in the dark. His life teaches us that you can start with nothing, no money, a racing heart, and a leaky roof, and end up owning the world. But the price is high. The price is every morning you want to sleep in, every party you don't go to, and every person who tells you no. He is the architect of his own greatness. He didn't wait for a lucky break. He built his own ladder to the stars. He shows us that talent is only the starting line. Obsession is the finish line. The final lesson. You might be this skinny boy in your office or your school today. You might feel like you are from a small island that no one cares about. But remember Cristiano. He didn't have the best start, but he had the best finish. Your life is your stadium. The whistle has blown. Are you going to watch the game, or are you going to become the MVP? The choice is yours. Work until your idols become your rivals. This 5,000-word journey of a legend is complete, but your training starts now. What is the one habit you will change today to become a champion? Tell us in the comments. If Cristiano's fire inspired you, hit the like button and share this with someone who needs to keep running. Most importantly, subscribe to this channel. We are your coach, and we will help you win. See you at the next match.